Hello and welcome once again to my layout new Junction. Right, now getting straight on with the progress on the layout from where you left off. The paint is now dry. We've now painted up various bits like the bridge. There's even lights now in the containers, so it's really coming together. One thing I did ask in between now and the previous video is what to do about the track plan here in the Heritage Station. Now, I mocked up this as you see it, and I've got the 5 coaches just to give you an idea of how big a platform would be. Now, a lot of people suggested not having a platform at all because you've got the 2 stations. Now, I think it needs it because the main line is great, but it is just a roundy and a very fast roundy at that. There's not much play value to be had on top of admiring long trains whizzing past. Whereas the Heritage line, it's all the play value with the, well, in essence, it's single track entry points, and then you've got passing, starting, stopping loop. You've got shunting options with the sidings just behind where you are, and then potentially something up this end, maybe a shed, who knows. So I've mocked this up, and this seems to be the preferred track plan without extending the boards. Now, I'd like to extend the boards potentially to add some more scenery in front. However, the track has to remain here on these modular boards. Otherwise, it starts to get really complicated. So my thoughts were, and the feedback I had, were to keep this so you've got a single island platform in the middle. Got your passing trains, what would be the other way. And the only real point of feedback I had was make the island slightly longer. So I would move the point work a bit further down so I can have the 5 coaches and an engine, which is a good point because if they're going to pass, they need to be able to fit the train in. That's the downside of having a passing loop. It has to be big enough for the train. And the other point I had a lot was access. So I brought you a bit closer into this side of the station end. Now, the real Thirsk station actually has a raised road bridge, which is up here. That wouldn't necessarily work with the Heritage line down below because the roadway would be too tall and it would look a bit silly. However, Thirsk also has not only a track level crossing, but it's also used for vehicles as well. So that gave me the idea of, well, why don't I simply have it a level crossing? Coming straight across in a diagonal formation and using my off-cut a bit of platform just to show you where it goes. So the road would roughly be here. The irony, it'd probably be best suited where the containers are, so I'll move those in a minute. And it'd go somewhere like this, but ground level, straight across, and then steps down to the island platform, ticket office, etc., etc. Very traditional. And I think that's probably the answer. And it would also give me some nice scenery work to do because you'd have the modern image level crossing going straight to a bridge. And then, of course, it tells the story of how the 2 stations were connected, well, back in the day, and if their story. So you'd have the 2 lines, basically, and people could walk across and walk through. Nice and simple. Hopefully that'd be work, and luckily I've got just enough room here to put a slightly angled roadway without affecting the baseboard joins and the point work on the main line. And another benefit, of course, is a road bridge here covers this baseboard join. Every cloud. So as you saw last time, I was preparing these containers. Now, I've added lights. Now, Christopher of Leigh Models and Hobbies got in touch. Funnily enough, he's the one, you'll have heard of him previously on the channel because he does my new Junction vans from time to time. Now, he got in touch to say he does a very simple light pack, which comes with a strip light in essence, which I jumped at the chance at, so I got him to send me 2 down, and it's plug and play. They go with very small little batteries, and you can either wire in an on-off switch or just have them come on. I suppose you could even, for those who wanted to, you could even wire them into an accessory bus. But yeah, I just went for the battery fitted option, which I'll turn on and off as and when I need to. And yeah, super simple. I'll put a link, non-affiliate, down below in the description for those, and it just enhances your containers that bit further. But of course, you can use the same kit, which is cheap and cheerful, dare I say it, in all the buildings. So I'm going to actually put more into my waiting room and station, etc. And you get various choices of light as well. So you get the warm light, the yellow light, bright white light, that kind of thing. But no, I think it works really well, and particularly, it's hard to see so much on camera, but in the flesh it adds a real nice warm glow coming out the windows through the plastic glazing. Something else I've been working on quite religiously behind the scenes of an evening is actually the station and building up the various details to be able to go together. So what I'm generally working towards is being able to get to a point where I can ballast and bring the ballast on the main line down. However, I always have a sort of an unwritten rule that if I'm doing that, everything else before ballast has to be done. So I've been working on getting this to a point. Now, the first one, as you can see, hopefully this doesn't all fall apart, is I'm not growing paints, but as you can see, I've actually finally decided to stick the fencing in on the layout, which has been one of those jobs I've been putting off. I think we all have those. So if I just take these off real quick, I will say as well, top tip for you, if you get some of these tiny little clothes pegs, now they're basically for kids to play with, like with dolls' clothing and stuff like that. But if you steal them off your daughters, like I may have done, they work very well at just being that extra pair of hands that need to clip into something a bit softer like plastic. Normally you'd use things like crocodile clips, etc., but sometimes they can grip a bit too hard and mark what you've been working on. Now, of course, you all know about the waiting room, which I made. Now, the real first, again, it would back onto the edge of the platform, but because I have an issue with width, I'm going to put it in front of the fence on this particular build, purely because the roof would catch a train, and I don't want to risk it because those being the fast lines, if a train ever caught it, we would know about it. And knowing my luck, it wouldn't be on film. So the next step for me is I'm going to put the remaining fence up on the main platform, again on the back side, and then I can start adding in the details on the station, because I've been building up a small collection of my own, because believe it or not, there is virtually no modern image, East Coast Mainline modern image, station detailing. So I had to do something about that, and you may be able to see it in front of you. I've created a small little range. Here we are. I've moved the track around a little bit, and I've done some very crude pencil drawings. So the very first one is, as you can see here and here, hopefully on camera, we now have the routeway for a ground level road on the heritage line. Now, long plan to have another road bridge here anyway, a mainline one, which will join this road from the side up, and of course it'll come straight across. Now this back line won't be here anymore, that'll have to stop further down, so it's just double track. And what it does is hopefully helps me complete a loop for maybe some form of car system, like a fallow car system, to go along this road, maybe have the odd thing running round, joining and going off onto the main road. Coming forward, of course, you can see I've moved my container in this as well, just to the other side. So as you can see, the scene is slightly different now, but roughly speaking, we can fill this in with a car park to the railway, cross the track, and then onto the island platform, which will be in the middle with all the relevant buildings. So following on almost sort of like an island platform, a bit like the Quorn and Rothley's of the Great Central Railway, but also taking inspiration from, I think it's Bury Station at the East Lancs Railway, being quite an urban scene. And that's quite a big platform, really. So you'd have to imagine the sort of various buildings, toilets and things, all self-contained on this, and it really gives a lot of scope for some detail. Now, don't tell me I spare any expense, but as you can see, from a scrap piece of MDF I've got and a bit of foam, this would be the rough position of the roadway. So again, at a slight angle, just to cause a bit of scenic interest, you can roughly see, so a couple of things I'll try and achieve here. One is the covering of the baseboard joint as best as possible, so this part of the bridge will be lift off, but it also has to be far enough to the left as we're looking at it, so that there's enough platform here to put some stairs down to it, which shouldn't be too bad, and then it gives a nice scenic vista, which I think would be quite nice. I've also coming to the conclusion that I know a lot of you have given me some feedback on it. The walling, I think probably, especially particularly now I've got the laser to cut my own, I think a more period wall would probably suit this scene better. So sort of like a brick arched affair would probably suit it more than the Larsen piling, which would free up the Larsen piling actually to go near the city, which would be more likely to have Larsen piling walling. So that gives me something to do in the evenings, and potentially draw up some new laser cut walling. So I thought I'd bring you back to the station. Now I've done a bit of work since the previous clip, as you saw in the time-lapse. So first things first, I have moved the containers to the left-hand side. Now, when I fill in this area with the sort of bridge scene, I will probably move them ever so slightly further over again, because I don't like how they block the vista of the end of the platform just behind them for this outside line. So trains here will go that way, and that is one of the sort of prime departure shots being blocked, but otherwise I don't mind them over this side. Now, I said I'd made my own range. Now, as you can see, they've got a couple of bits here, give you a clue, some signboards, poster boards, and the handrails for my bridge being painted up. And I said on the station I'd had to make my own range due to the lack of modern image bits and pieces for the East Coast Main Line. So as you can see, thanks to Michael Lomax, we have designed up a small kit of modern image bits and pieces. So you've got the ticket machine, you've got a wheelchair ramp, various signage, some with the top banners, and then just the ones with the poster boards. We've got poster boards on their own, and then a help point as well. Now, I was amazed to think you could get seats and things, and I mean, as you can see, if I zoom you in, you've got the seats on the platform, you've got the double wheelchair ramp at the back there, salt grit bins. The blue thing on its side is a bin. It's just not been glued to the fence yet. But as you can see, I'll show you there's one of my poster boards and the wheelchair ramp. Nice and tucked in. These things just don't exist. So a couple of other details I've added in so far. We've got the newspaper stand from Westall Wagon Works. I should say the seats and what are also from Westall Wagon Works. If I move you along just to here, you can see we've got the ticket machine and help point against the station building wall there, as the train goes past, very timely. And then the first of my station signs all painted up, which I think from a sort of normal viewing distance, they're very nice indeed. Now those are very simply done there, just hand painted up, and then I actually use the Sankey Scenics British Rail station signs pack and just cut them to fit. They are designed to fit these, particularly the single posters, so very nice and easy. And of course I'll put a link down below to these in the new Junction shop, should you wish, because I've printed a handful of each off. But yeah, it's just, I was quite surprised. Also, while I'm here as well, I should show you that the zoomed in too much. The bridge here, I've put in the handrails from the first bridge, the one that's too tall actually, but you can just get the gist of how nice that's going to be. It does need painted up, it's still in primer, but I think you'll agree, it's just starting to come together and become that sort of urban scene of grey. But I will change some of the greys, like the posts are going to be concrete, etc. And I think the side panels on the top are actually a lighter grey still, more of a metal grey. But yeah, as you can see, the scene is slowly improving. I think the only other thing I need to do now, I've put the fences in place, is put more lampposts on this first platform. Now on the real the station, they are central with 2 lamps, but I think you can only get the lamppost, if I can show you it really close up, with 1 lamp head. So I'm going to have to, I think, commit and just have those at the back. But that's not all the progress, so we can see it in the background. Let's go and check on my Mary Street flats. And here we are at the end of the layout now. As you can see, this building has come right on. We've actually applied the first brick layers to the outside of the building on all sides. Now this is the main section of the building. There is a ground floor car park area, which is a couple of stories, and then of course you've got the penthouse on top, with some very dodgy looking characters sat on the top of the building. It's actually been a really satisfying kit to put together. I'm just working my way through painting up the window frames, then I'll put those in. Then you've got the actual balcony fences, etc. And this will really come together. And also, particularly when the bottom layer, which is currently off being painted, comes together, it'll start to look really nice. And especially when it's built into this end scene, it's just a nice backdrop to have, particularly being so tall. Now, talking of the buildings, you will notice an absence. Now, the Premier Inn, which was here last time in the last video, is currently away being cladded and fitted up for cladding, because it's obviously the building I am making from scratch, as it were. So we're just looking at all the cladding for that, or I'm just cutting all the cladding for it. And also, I've been in talks to come up with something snazzy for lighting, because this is the Premier Inn I was taking inspiration from originally, and this is the same Premier Inn at night time. Now you can see it lights up, and one of the reasons I picked it was because I mean, the purple against the sort of building, the white outer building, looks fantastic. And I think that'll really stand out on a layout because it's just so different, really garish colour. But yeah, we're looking at not only lighting it up with the purple LEDs, the room lights, etc., but also having random lights and even things like TVs playing and things, random lights coming on and off in different rooms. And the furnishings for inside them. It's all being worked on in the background. So I think I'm going to bring you the Premiere In build as a separate video because it's quite intense. And I'll try and edit that down to be something worth watching. But yeah, this is the scene coming together, and all being well, it won't be too much longer before we can start working on the building up the groundwork again with some polystyrene. That's one of the next jobs, to bring the land formation round, and yeah, we'll start bedding in these buildings. But yeah, really enjoying doing this. So it all feels at the moment like all I've been doing is making brickwork for my Premiere In, etc. But I've actually been quite busy once again with my Creality A1 Pro, making it earn its keep for sure. And I've been playing around with improving on the last coasters I did, because I did some New Junction logoed ones. And I've decided to do a little depot plaque range, some of which were carried on locomotives. So you've got things like Cardiff Canton, you've got the Crew Electrics, Toten, etc. And it's actually turned into a bit of fun and a bit of an obsession of an evening. And you can see I've built a very small little range. So printed a few of each off again. So if you want one, they'll be on the New Junction shop link down below, and they'll go perfectly with your New Junction mug for everyone who has one of those as well. I've even gone full sponsorship. They just don't know it yet. So I've had to turn the trains off now because, would you believe it, the microphone just died on me, the battery's dead, but I want to do this outro very quickly. So I will say the station is coming on apace, and of course if anything of interest to you, such as the 3D printed bits, the containers, the bridge, it's all on the New Junction shop, along with the coasters as well if you fancy a cup of tea. But I will say, as ever, thank you very much for those of you who've brought the odd bit previously. It does help to keep the lights on. And of course, talking about keeping the lights on, it's a good point to say a big thank you to the channel Patreons and members. It does really help. Now, over the next 3 weeks or so, I will be at 3 shows. I'm going to the Stafford Motor Railway Show, I'm going to Folkestone, and I'm going to the Great Electric Train Show in Milton Keynes. Now, hopefully, 2 things. One is I'll be able to see many of you there. Come and say hello. I'll be on the Acura scale stand as per. So it's great to say hello, meet the faces behind some of the channels on YouTube who comment on my videos. I'm hoping as well, the second thing is I'll be able to take a bit of pocket money and treat myself to some point work to be able to get this loop in, and then we can finally start working on the heritage platform. So progress is racing ahead and I love it. I'll be definitely kept busy over the next few weeks. I'll make a start on the bridge for the roadway, etc. I'll get it marked out and laid down and things. And yeah, I think this scene is really starting to come together now. I'm also so impressed with the lighting on the containers. I'm going to add a few more to the rest of the station, I think, as well, from Chris at Leigh Models and Hobbies. Right, I want to say thank you for watching as ever. Take care, and I'll see you very soon in the next one. Bye for now.